obviously you did things before you met Brubeck. Were you a conductor then, or?
Well, yeah, I was actually associated with the Dallas Symphony, and
really?
I was the assistant to the music director, and that's where Dave and I met, which
in
was
Dallas.
in Dallas. And
so how did you start? How did he collaborate with you?
Well, he was brought in to perform with the orchestra, and I was there as the liaison, and we just hit it off. I had been in the Army for 3 years prior to Dallas Symphony, where I was with the United States Army Band, and I was assigned to the White House. And so that's where I spent my Army years, was playing Hail to the Chief all the time. Before that, I graduated from North Texas.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Well, that's where all great jazz players come out of.
It was interesting. I was on I was on the classical side at North Texas. But I was exposed and worked and certainly got the feeling of the jazz from North Texas, because there's another place better. It's funny, a couple of years ago, maybe even longer now, they gave me a Distinguished Alumni Award. And I said in my acceptance, I said, all this proves is that you lost the transcript.
You know, one of the things was, like you totally blew me away. I mean, I was sort of stunned when you walked up to me when we did our show at the Jazz Showcase, and he said, "Oh, I work with Brubeck. I'm Russell Gloyd." And I heard your name so many times over there, and I'm going, "What the hell is this guy doing here?" How the hell did you hear about what we were doing?
On WDCB.
Oh, well, now that paid off.
On WDCB. I heard the announcement that you were doing a Brubeck program, and I thought, well, let me go see what's going on here and what pieces. I'm always fascinated when people do this, of what did they select? Because the choices are pretty amazing.
It's very daunting to figure out what you're going to do. But I always just had a love of playing on odd rhythms. And no band I work with everything was in 4. Maybe they throw a waltz in. But I said, I gotta play some of this stuff. I play it in my basement, along with LPs. And I said, one of these days, I'm just gonna get a group together, because I play in other bands, but I want to get guys that could really read this stuff and have a feel for it.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate to find 3 other guys that just dug it and wanted to play, which is really difficult, because in our situation, we don't have money to pay for rehearsals and things, so we had to do this with 3 rehearsals. And that's
pretty amazing, because you picked some very challenging pieces. I mean, Unisphere, which looks like it's in 5, but it's actually in 10.
That's what the feel is.
It's in 10. When you think about where the beat, Be-da-dum, ba-ba-da-ba-dum, bum, ba-dum, be-dum, bum, ba-ba-da-ba-dum, bum, be, ba-dum, bum, ba-ba-da-ba-dee, dum, bum, 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 ba-ba-da-ba-da. It's in 10.
That's,
And Dave had no idea it was in 10. It was his brother that told him. David, do you know that Unisphere is actually in 10/4, not 5/4, as you have been announcing? Howard was the brilliant musician. I mean, hands down. Mm-hmm. And how how the dialogues take place was that Howard was at Tanglewood the same time Leonard Bernstein was at Tanglewood. So they became colleagues, became friends. So then when Howard wrote this, he offered it to Lenny, and Lenny took it, and they premiered it at Carnegie Hall. Now, you want to hear how things have changed? The quartet performed at Carnegie Hall. The quartet was also at Birdland. They programmed in Carnegie Hall around their sets at Birdland. So they would have to get into a cab, go to Carnegie, change into their tux, walk and play, then back they go and finish out the night.
They performed that Howard's work
at Carnegie.
Live?
Yeah, with Lenny. It was part of the...
Did they record that live?
Oh, yes. Yeah. No. They did not record it live because the recording on the album was done in the studio right after the live performance. That's how you do it. I mean, you rehearse it, you perform it, then you record it.
Mm-hmm. I wish we had that luxury.
So, that's pretty much how most albums, classical albums, are done. Now, what happens on that was just before the first performance, Dave gets a knock on the door, and it's William Vacchiano, who was the principal trumpet of the New York Philharmonic. And he says, "Just want to let you know, we're following your drummer." Said, "Lenny gets too excited at times." So well,
that's a great guy to follow.
The first time, yeah, right. Well, they're not fools, you know. So the very first time they performed it, and the audience is standing ovation and everything, and they're all out front, and they've got their arms around each other, and they're taking a bow, and Lenny turns to Dave and says, "Tell your drummer to watch me." Okay? And then they come up, and he goes down again, and Dave says, "My drummer is blind."
That's right.
Which is true. At which point then Lenny goes, "Oh, no." Except substitute another word for no, and that will be more accurate.